where he has shared with us his experience in regenerative farming. Last week, Adam Kama from the Tropical Rainforest Conservation and Research Center TRCRC brought us into the magnificent and amazing world of our native trees and ways to conserve and reintroduce these trees in the city. Today, we are going to venture further out to the citizens, which is you guys. Jo Leen from Langur Project Penang will be talking on her experience in citizen science. To those who aren't familiar with UBI, UBI is short for Urban Biodiversity Initiative. UBI is an independent collective for urban ecology research, conservation, and environmental education based in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. My name is Shuhada and I am your moderator for today. Before we proceed, a reminder to all of you, if throughout the session you have any questions, just drop your questions in the Q&A box or chat box. We are also streaming live on Facebook, so to you guys who are watching us from Facebook, you can drop your questions in the comment box below. I'll try my best to address all of your questions. Okay, so let's go to our agenda for today. This online workshop series, organized with the Kota Damansara Community Forest Society and with funding from the Habitat Foundation and the UNDP GEF Small Grants Program, aims to develop knowledge and skills among urban communities that want to conserve, improve, and manage green spaces in the city. So in the past few weeks, we have been running online workshops on various topics related to rewilding urban areas. Today, we will be joining with Ms. Yap Jo Leen as she shares her ways to apply citizen science in studying and conserving dusky langurs in Penang, Malaysia. Jo Leen is a wildlife researcher and environmental educator, studying the ecology and behavior of dusky langurs in Penang. She is the founder and the head of Langur Project Penang, LPP, a community science project on primate research and conservation in Penang. Jo Leen is the first Malaysian to be awarded the Environmental Educators 30 Under 30 in 2018, a TEDxPetalingStreet speaker, and initiated the installation of Malaysia's first urban Canopy bridge in 2019. Langur Project Penang is also featured in BBC Earth series Primates in May 2020. Jo Leen and her team is actively engaging with the local residents to promote coexistence among humans and wildlife residents in Malaysia. Okay, so that is all from me. I'll be passing the stage to Jo Leen. So Jo Leen, whenever you are ready.
Hi everyone. So Sue, can you hear me and can you see me clearly?
Yes,
all right.
Very clear.
Okay. Hello everyone, welcome to this webinar and thank you so much to Urban Biodiversity Initiative and the funders of this series for inviting Langur Project Penang and myself to share about this humble project in Penang. So some introduction regarding LPP. As you can see on my left, over here, yeah, is the logo of Langur Project Penang. So I'm speaking on behalf of a group of citizens in Penang, Malaysian of various background. So today I'm gonna tell you guys stories regarding how we achieve those humble milestones through the help and assistance of citizens of various background. All right, so give me a moment for me to share my slides. All right, let me tune into full screen. Okay, Shu, can you let me know if you can see the full screen, please?
Yes, I can see the screen.
All right, okay. So everyone, so today the sharing topic is on the duskies in us. As you can see in front of you guys, these are the duskies. Yeah, or we call them the members of Langur Project Penang. So some introduction regarding Langur Project Penang. I started this project back in 2016 when I was still doing my master's, and currently I'm the final year student in University Science Malaysia. I'm working on my PhD, still working hard on my thesis. And since 2016, I've been working closely with people right in front of you, all these spectacled duskies, on collecting data on the dusky langurs, and also in raising awareness regarding primate conservation. So in this 30 minutes, I'm going to share to you guys the various methods and the people behind Langur Project Penang, and most importantly, what is citizen science and how can you guys contribute to primate conservation or any related conservation as well. Okay, so some brief introduction about myself. Thank you, Sue, for introducing me so well just now. And as you can see, I'm not just a researcher. I'm actually an environmental educator. on the top right, it was me in the face shield. Yeah, because now it's the RMCO. So for every environmental educator, we need to have a protection. Yeah, as well as a participant. My background is actually started in research/environmental education. So how I started this journey in primate research, especially why do I study dusky langurs, this cute, charismatic species in Penang. This is actually an endangered species, yeah, endangered primate species in Malaysia. But not only can be found in Malaysia, but also Thailand, Myanmar as well. And currently, they are quite adapting to the urban environment. And so, instead of working myself as a postgrad student in collecting data, I started to work with lots of citizens in order to gather data in a larger scale, yeah, which I'm going to share with you guys today. Okay, so a little bit about the story of LPP, because there are many people actually ask me like how I started LPP at this age, like how come I have a group of members of the public, including Sue as well, used to be our intern in assisting LPP, this community science project, or you call it a citizen science project. It all started when I decided to quit my job back in 2015, and I wanted to do something else. I wanted to really help the wildlife in our country. Because when you talk about science, many people see science as a profession, but science can be a hobby as well. So since I was young, I'm sure that many of you can relate, including the panelists. You guys have a sense of curiosity around yourself. Yeah, hence urban biodiversity initiative, doing so many urban biodiversity workshop for the public. So I quit my job and I decided to study dusky langurs under the supervision of my supervisor, which is also my current supervisor, Dr. Nadine Rupert. So in the beginning, I was alone in the forest. So I had to do everything by myself. As you can see, the top left photo is actually me placing the camera on the ground while capturing my back, including this photo as well. So when you study primates in the wild, right, it doesn't mean that you can see them like very closely, like this photo over here next to me. It all started with habituation. Means I need to follow them multiple days per week, up to 5 to 6 days per week, for the dusky langurs to get used to me, so that they can accept my existence and I can collect data on their ecology and behavior. And then I met Wen. So Wen, this lady over here, she's actually a graphic designer. She's my first citizen scientist member. So during those days, I have no idea what is the meaning of citizen science. I just know that, okay, since I study primates and I'm also an environmental educator, why not I share all the stories in the fields on Facebook and Instagram? So eventually, my friends started to come in, including Wen as well. So Wen helped us to design the logo on our shirt, as you can see. And she started to help me in fieldwork. So we went into the forest like I think 2 to 3 times per week during that time, during her free time. And I trained her how to collect data through the methodology of a scan sampling, focus sampling, to those who study wildlife would understand. And slowly we start posting more information online. And eventually, more friends join us for fieldwork experience. So these are my friends back then, and now still keeping in touch. So they were very curious about, oh, what are dusky langurs in Penang? I never seen them before. So I told them like, okay, you can follow me into the field, but in exchange, you must help us in something. Like for example, commit to few days of fieldwork in data collection, or use your creativity to write an articles, photography, or videography as well. So from the Jo Leen that don't understand the meaning of citizen science to today, we have gathered more than 70 volunteers from Malaysia and also international volunteers too. All right. I'm sure many of you are wondering, what is citizen science? What is citizen science? Can everyone be a citizen scientist? So now, guys, I want you guys to start think about what you do on a daily basis. Actually, we are surrounded by science and nature, right? So if you're into gardening, you observe pollinators, or you're a birder, you like to observe birds in the backyard, or you start to measure the amount of rainfall on a weekly basis, right? And all these different hobbies, we call that, are the qualities of citizen scientists. So everyone can be a citizen scientist. As you can see on the slides over here, there's few definitions of citizen scientists. Like for example, in Net Geo, it means citizen science is a practice of public publication and collaboration in scientific research. And look at the Science Starter. Citizen science is a collaboration between scientists and those who are just curious and motivated to make a difference. And based on the literature, Ballard et al. 2018, citizen science contribute to social as well as environmental benefit, not only for the environment, but also for people, mental health, etc. as well. And if you look at the nature definition, citizen science basically means active public involvement in scientific research. So to conclude all this definition, citizen science, the aim is to bridge the gap between scientists and the community so that we can make more impact together. Like for me, myself, I can't make a larger impact, comparing to working with a group of people with different backgrounds, so that we can use creativity, we can use teamwork in order to achieve greater milestone. All right, so let me just brief you guys about the 3 pillars of Langur Project Penang. So Langur Project Penang is actually still a working group, means a group of citizen scientists. Like for me, even though I'm a researcher, but me myself, I'm a Malaysian as well. I'm a citizen too. So it's a group of citizens from different backgrounds working towards the conservation of dusky langurs and also urban wildlife in Penang and Malaysia. The first pillar of LPP, Langur Project Penang, is research project. So we conduct long-term data collection since late 2015, actually, before the initiative of Langur Project Penang happened. So we train the citizen into the field, which I'm going to show you guys more photos and information later, and teach them how to collect data in a proper and non-biased way. The second pillar is the Canopy Bridge project. So since 2019, we have installed the first urban canopy bridge in Malaysia. And since then, we have dedicated to collect more data on the crossing hotspot of the urban wildlife on the roads so that we can propose to build more arboreal crossing. Because in Malaysia, most of the crossings are viaduct, are targeting large charismatic mammals, but most of the arboreal wildlife, for example, monkeys, squirrels, or even tree snakes, etc., all these treetops animals are often being neglected. And third pillar is the outreach and educational program. My background is also from environmental education, and I have a strong passion towards EE, environmental education too. So I really hope that I'm able to break the ice. Like when you look at researchers, there are not many researchers out there that are willing to take their time in talking to 6-year-old kids or even like a 60-year-old uncles or auntie, which people that live around urban wildlife are the crucial community in order to help conserve the wildlife, in order to promote coexistence between humans and the wildlife. So the main objective of LPP is not just do research, but is to trying to promote coexistence among people and wild animals. This photo is quite unique, As you can see on the left over here is a dusky langurs. I'm sure you guys can recognize the one with the black color and the white spectacle. This is dusky langur. And on the right, this is a long-tailed macaque. So interspecies grooming in the same habitat. So if wildlife can do it in the wild, why can't we humans do that at the same time? Which we can have more toleration, empathy, understanding towards our wild animals or wild residents. Okay, so for the next session of the sharing, I'm going to break down into 4 different aspects under LPP, which how we utilize citizen science in achieving research, conservation, and education. All right, so as you can see in the middle over here is actually a conservation work. So conservation is a process not only to conserving wild animals, but also is a process to changing people's perspective. Like for example, if you take monkeys as an example, when you talk about monkeys, people see monkeys as pets or pests. So how can you change the perception or the perspective, the thoughts of the public of pets and pets into, oh, primates are seed dispersers, primates, monkeys, all these are valuable to our rainforest ecosystem. How do we do that? So I break down into field research, education, collaboration, and community. and I'm going to show you some example of the Duskies, LPP members in our group, how they utilize their skill to help primate conservation. Okay, first of all, field research. For field research, we have been actively engaging with people in local, like in Malaysia, or even overseas as well. Like this guy over here, Kai Xian, on the left, he's one of our long-term field assistants. And he's actually a final year student in Yeah, so he's introduced by Sue to us. Yeah, so even though he's studying in in KL, but every time he's having sem break in Penang, because he's a Penang guy, and he will always help out. Even until today, he's helping out during this RMCO period. Yeah, so the objective of the field research in including citizen scientists is to monitor the dusky langurs in different study sites, and also to arrange research data, as well as training new members of LPP. Yeah, this is to ensure sustainability. Like for example, we take so many months and years in order to understand a group of dusky langurs home ranges, or even their food plants and the social dynamics. So during the pandemic time, MCO, we were unable to do fieldwork for 3.5 months. So when we catch up during the RMCO, it was very tough because we started to see changes in social structure and dynamics, including their home range as well. So the importance of utilizing citizen scientists, work together with the community, is to ensure there's a sustainability in research, so that there's always a loop, a never breaking loop, not never ending, but also never breaking as well, so that we can keep on monitoring the groups, existing group, at the same time expanding to other groups for research purpose. So by joining as a LPP Duskies, member of Langur Project Penang, the people are able to learn about wilderness skills, sampling methods, plants IDs, and even binography as well, which is photography through your binoculars. Yeah, so some of our research is to collect the activity pattern and the diet composition, and also the home range of the dusky langurs in the wild. Like Pong on the left over here, he's actually a natural farmer, and he has been helping LPP since 2018. And he's really good in the wilderness. So his responsibility is to chase the langurs when we are unable to catch up, because sometimes the langurs under habituation, they can be very shy. And we have our oldest, or even the youngest volunteer in the group, Sazali. Sazali, he's currently 60 years old, but he's very active. So every time when we need assistance in Chirotokun, and he will be the first one to raise his hand, say, come, I can help. And he's also learning data collection by using technology, using iPads, using phone. So learning is a never-ending process, including science and nature. And the citizen scientists are able to recognize food plants of the dusky langurs. So guys, can you tell what these pink color fruits are? If you know, you can write down in the chat group. Anyone has idea? So these are actually figs, or you call them the ficus. So langurs, they love ficus, and they will always feed on the fruits, especially the immature one. And on the right, this one over here, the black color and with a little bit of fungus. What are these? Any ideas? These are jering, basically relative of petai. So langurs, they have lots of food plants, and based on our publication, we have collected more than 100 different food plants of the langurs for the past few years, and now we're still collecting more and more. So the citizen scientists are also able to recognize different individuals of langurs, so that they can help in collecting data on individuals and group level at the same time. All right, of course, there's the challenging side of fieldwork for the citizen scientists, which they may encounter some risks. Put snakes encounter aside, because it's quite rare to see snakes, because sometimes they're up in the trees, or they are very camouflaged, which when you walk in the forest, you may miss them. But some of the common ones would be insect bites. Like all these are the attack from wasps. So all these are something that the citizen scientists need to endure. Which we see that as a part of risk as well. So to recruit citizen scientists, we must always prepare a disclaimer form for them to sign, and we must make sure that they are well trained until a certain point that they are independent enough to take care of themselves and take care of their buddy, which is their partner. All right, now we move on to the second aspect, which is the education. So for the education, LPP is quite active, engaging with the community in 3 different subgroups. First is the rainforest program, and second, outreach, talks and roadshows, and third, creative content for social medias and activities. So instead of inviting Malaysian and volunteers to join us to follow the monkeys in the wild, we also encourage them to use their creativity to develop contents in raising awareness of the dusky langurs and primate conservation in Malaysia. I find this very, very crucial because environmental education is often neglected. Many people think that, okay, research is fine, but environmental education, does it has a measurable impact? This is a question in my mind since many, many years ago, because I'm not a social scientist. So currently we're working with a group of psychologists in order to measure the impact of environmental education and hope that within a year or two, we're able to share the result with everyone. Okay, so why environmental education and why involve citizens into environmental education? What if I share with you guys that the kids in front of you, all these little kids, after they join our environmental education, they are also playing a role of citizen scientists. But how? During the environmental education process, especially the rainforest program, we bring them close to nature, we bring them to hike, we let them experience through their 5 senses. What are the 5 senses? Sense of touch, smell, taste, sight, etc. And also to get some adventure nature. So once they're able to spot their first wild dusky langurs in the wild, they'll be so excited. Once they're able to taste the first wild starfruit, as in the middle over here, and they're able to bring all the information back and share with their friends and family. And after a few more weeks, I will receive their message, WhatsApp, of their observation of the dusky langurs around their neighborhood. Yeah, and all this data to you may seem insignificant, but to us, all these different sightings of the langurs help us in developing a sense of occurrence of the langurs in an urban environment, which I'm going to talk more later on this. Okay, so now I would like to highlight some of the LPP members that have been actively helping for environmental education. So this is Uncle Teo. Most people call him Momo Susu. Yeah, so Uncle Teo has been helping LPP since late 2017. So I met him during the Penang Green Carnival. So as a semi-retired IT engineer, he was very curious about monkeys. And so I started to train him into fieldwork. And after a few sessions of fieldwork, and he also expressed that his interest toward environmental education. So we started to organize so many activities together, including a rainforest program to indoor talks. And on the right, we have Wen as well, the first dusky who assisted me. And we have Ming Yu and Yan Qian. So all these individuals are from different backgrounds, but they utilize their time to volunteer, not just one-off, two-off, but permanently for long term. And on the bottom right, you have a group of community in a small area, like a very happening area in Penang. It's known as Occupied District. So everyone is trying to understand more regarding these spectacle monkeys, like where can we see them and what food they feed on. So all this spark curiosity, which we're trying to bridge the gap between science and also community for them to get more curious and interested to join for upcoming citizen science initiative. All right, science communication can be creative. Why do science the boring way? Right now, you have science documentary, you have all the BBC documentary, Net Geo, all these are so interesting. But sometimes we would think that, oh, in order to produce a film, it needs a lot of money and manpower. And for us, like a small working group, what can we do? We can be creative. Instead of developing all this top left, those traditional printed educational board, you can do more than that from website articles, like more storytelling type, and also videography as well. Now, I'm going to flash you a few Duskies, LPP members, on their background and also their contribution towards Langur Project Penang in science communication wise. Starting with Wen. So Wen, like I mentioned before, she's a graphic designer. So she designed the logo of Langur Project Penang, as you can see over here. And she's also the lady behind all these interesting interactive props, including a crossword puzzle and paintings, etc. At the same time, she also helped us to develop a shirt. Sorry. Okay, so our shirt is quite unique because instead of just a shirt itself, it has the foot plants of the dusky langurs. Yeah, like 6-foot plants at least. So every time we wear this shirt, we go out, it's quite striking, right? Some people say it looks like the Tutti Malaysia 2020. Yeah, so people would ask like, oh, what is this? What is that? And we would use the opportunity to explain to them the different food plants that printed on our t-shirt. So by using creative way, instead of those normal t-shirts to wear, we can storytelling just based on one single t-shirt. Now on the right, Eric. Eric is a communication officer of PWTC. Yeah, so he's also a writer as well. So we have been collaborating since late 2017, and he has been very actively engaging with us, especially obtaining information on our Canopy breach, on environmental education, so that he can write more stories in a more creative way and impactful way, can reach a wider audience. All right. Now to the younger generation. So all these young people in front of you, they are very young, but also very, very creative. They are very interested in conservation. But one question they always raise in their mind is, how can I survive in conservation? Like in conservation, maybe you can't get high pay, and in conservation, maybe you can't have a bright future. But once they find the right citizen science platform, and they're able to see and realize that their potential is greater than what they think. Like on the left, Jie Long over here, he's actually in the chat group and answering all the questions, and he's on my right. So Jie Long, he's very creative, especially in illustration and also on content creating. So right now, he's actively helping us to create lots of cute wildlife cartoons to use for writings, videos, and also infographic, and also coming out with more scientific research converted into public knowledge, like infographic for everyone to read on. So I feel that this is really important so that people can have the thoughts that, oh, science is actually not that like a high hierarchy, you know, it's not that high standard. For me, a layman person, I can understand science as well, especially I like this animal, but I don't know what's going on with this animal. So maybe this infographic can help me, then I can join more citizen science project to contribute more, all right? And in the middle over here, we have Zhe Yi. She's currently a student. She's studying in Imperial College, UK. So she's so creative. She came up with a Monopoly, conservation Monopoly game. And this is actually a blueprint. We are now working on the final product, which we hope to launch next year, hopefully early next year. So this Monopoly is more on role playing. Like, for example, you have 4 people playing this Monopoly and 4 people playing different roles, from conservationist to government to developer to citizen. Yeah, so how these 4 different roles play an impact onto langur and primate conservation. So this game, the aim is to try to let people understand the personal impact towards environment and how different stakeholders can work together in order to make a difference. And on the right, we have Yongxuan. Yongxuan, she's a broadcasting student in Hanjiang University College, and she's helping us to making all sorts of educational videos at the moment. So her videos are very fresh, different perspective, from a citizen perspective. If you ask a scientist to make a video, or you ask a citizen of creative background to make a video, the outcome can be different, and it's to reach wider audience. And I love this photo. So a group of international kids, students in KL, they also play the role as a citizen scientist. Instead of reporting on the primate observation and the occurrence in Klang Valley to us, they also took the initiative to organize a fundraising event and even interviews the people who visited their booth. Like, for example, have you seen this monkey before? And what do you think about the babies, etc.? And for them, they already helped so much, especially on the seeds in their heart. They're able to do so much in the future, which is quite an important thing for us in order to nurture the next generation to grow up to be the future conservationists or even future citizen scientists. Okay, now the third aspect would be the community part. So there's actually a story of this photo, as you can see. This is actually spine, right? Can you guess what animal is this? Any idea? If you have idea, you can write in the chat group of Facebook or even Zoom. This is actually one of the roadkill accident that we handled a few years ago. Yeah. So this was a juvenile dusky langur. It was hit by a car. And then when we took to the vet, we saw this x-ray result, we were shocked. The spine were bended like this. So why? It's due to the fact that there are many people have no idea that we have urban wildlife living around us. So in order to work with community, in order to recruit citizen scientists in creating long-term communication with your citizen science project, we really need to reach out. So for this topic, I'm dividing into 3 different groups. First is road ecology, second, urban wildlife sighting, and third, wildlife crime. First, road ecology. What is road ecology? Basically means the study of impact of roads towards movement of wild animals. On the right, a dusky langur. This was observed during RMCO. RMCO just happened because during MCO, there's no people outside, right? There's less cars, right? So the animals, they are very comfortable in roaming out to the urban areas. So when RMCO happened and cars start going out and the wildlife is too much for them, it's overwhelming for them. So during the first 3 days of RMCO, we got this call from a citizen, this Mr. over here on the top right. He called us and told us that there's a langur crawling on the road in Bukit Metajam. And so we went over to have a look. And when we asked the Mr., why would you call us? Like, what makes you call us? And the reply of the Mr. is, if we don't help these animals, no one can really help them because we are actually encroaching their home. This touches my heart because I really hope that more Malaysians would think this way, from simple acts like a slowdown on roads, because you never know where the animals could be from, because we always think that animals live in the hill and the seas, right? But now, due to habitat loss and fragmentation, all the animals can be seen around our neighborhood, even in our taman-taman. So we started to trying to encourage people to report to us on the road accidents or even road crossing data. So this is a simple infographic that we did in order to launch out to the community. So when community sees a road crossing activities, they would report to us so that all these coordinates can be placed into our data, then we're able to identify the next coordinate for next conservation project. If there's roadkill incident like this, like most citizens, they have no idea who to call, we will try to encourage them to inform the authority, which is Perhilitan. But if they still don't know, then we will be the center person to help to bridge the gap and inform Perhilitan. Second, urban wildlife sighting. This is quite similar to the road ecology, but instead of targeting road accidents, urban wild on the right. Like this citizen reported to us that she saw a group of langurs in Pearl Hill, close to the house. And this one over here saw us that, a group of langurs at the places that he never seen them before, even above the Malaysian flag as well. So we hope to get the help of the members or public to share the sighting on the urban wildlife across Penang and in Malaysia. So currently we are working with Dr. Cedric Tang from Oxford Brookes University. So we aim to create a tool that able to encourage citizen science-based conservation in reporting all these urban wildlife sighting. You may wonder, what's the difference between this and iNaturalist? So the objective of this urban wildlife sighting tool is to create a more rewarding platform. Like, for example, some citizen scientists, they join this project out of curiosity. Some is out of helpful spirit. Some is out of maybe Amazon voucher or even Shopee voucher. So different person have different purpose. So we need to identify the purpose so that we can target more niches of public, the members of the public. Because or not, you'll be targeting the same group of people all over again, which one of the challenge of conservation is to reach out and targeting different groups of people. All right, wildlife crime. So if you, I'm sure this is not a new thing to everyone that watch this webinar because you guys are concerned about conservation. So on social media like Facebook and Instagram, you see celebrities or people selling wildlife as pets, including dusky langurs baby. They are so cute that people want to own them as exotic pets. So there's different endangered and threatened species around the world. So instead of seeing all these advertisements and don't do anything, we encourage a citizen to carry out simple steps. Just screenshot and send it to the wildlife department, to us, or even to my cat. trying to raise awareness by creating more IG contents, IG stories, or write articles and blogs regarding hashtag primates are not pets. Every single individuals make a day different, quoted from Jane Goodall. So if we started to do something, even from a simple act of screenshot and send to the authority, you're helping to gather data as well. All right. And these are some examples that citizen reports to us. Like on the left, I saw a baby langur in the security guard arms at the TNB building. So after we collect the coordinates, the photos, we forward to the Perhilitan department, then they carry out the action. And over here, you can see someone actually keep a juvenile dusky langur, not a golden baby, a juvenile dusky langur in the apartment. And so he managed to take a photo and also coordinates, and we send it to the wildlife department. And on the right, even slow loris. So as you can see, in our backyard or even in someone's home, people may still keep exotic pets, wildlife as pets. So it's your responsibility to ask yourself whether you want to help to report and make the right thing, right decision, or you just pretend nothing happened. Because all this, not only saving the animals or giving the animal a second chance, but also contributing data to the relevant research project and authority. Okay, so we're entering the last part of how we utilize citizen science in LPP, which is on collaboration. Just now, I was emphasized a lot on individuals. Now, try to look at the larger overview. So I'm sure that everyone know us from our Canopy Bridge project. So I'm going to share a little bit on how we started the Canopy Bridge project. On the left photo is habitat fragmentation. So we used to have hills, connected habitat, and then is fragmented by buildings, roads, etc. And so after years of following them in the forest, we realized that, okay, they do cross from patches of fragmented zone to one another. And for the dusky langurs, they like to use cable wire. They even like to run across the road, which is very risky for the young individuals, even the older individuals too. So we wanted to do something even more large scale. All the citizen scientists regrouped together. From the data that we collect, we started to approach authority, multi-stakeholder, in order to build Canopy Bridge. So some of the stakeholders that we work together are Malaysian stakeholders. From authority like Perhilitan Perhutanan, we also kind of like take one step forward to reach out to JKR, which is the road department, yeah? So we had like multiple meetings with them because we need their final approval. And then we realized that, oh, okay, there are people in different authorities department that actually care about wild animals, and we can actually do that. And by using your dedication and patience and working with different stakeholders, you can make a difference. Like in 2019 February, we built the first urban canopy bridge in Malaysia. And after a year of data, we already have more than 500 different crossings from 3 charismatic species in Penang: long-tailed macaque, plantain squirrel, and dusky langurs too. Of course, not only these 3 species, we also have like a birds or even other different types of rodents that are using the bridge. So after getting all this data, and then we share it to the public in an informal way, videos like creative way, and people start to report to us more sightings of urban wildlife crossing activities on cable wire or even running across the road. Then this inspired us to do more in applying fundings, in reaching out to different groups of citizens in order to collaborate more. And for last month, we upgraded the current canopy bridge into second prototype, which is the double twisted liana. This means a lot to us because instead of working with authorities and collaborators, Aid Malaysia, these 2 guys, Mas and Masru, I always call them MNN. They are the one that passed us the fire hoses to build the canopy bridge. And also JKR and THB, they are the traffic controller and the authority for the approval. We also found an amazing guy, okay? He's not from etiquette, even though he has a afro hair. Okay, so Mr. Vicky, he's amazing. He's an engineer, like a very, very experienced engineer, and he volunteered his time and his money, his experience in helping us to create a solar panel to charge the camera trap so that I don't have to climb up multiple times per month. So it's really amazing how a single effort able to reach out so that more people can join the force, like Avengers, but in a more reality way. All right, so I'm not going to play the video because I want you guys to go to our Facebook page, Langur Project Penang. I think he already put the Facebook page, or he's going to put the Facebook page in both the different chat rooms. So just go to our Facebook page and click into the playlist. And there's a playlist on Canopy Bridge. You can see all the amazing camera footage findings of the Canopy Bridge that we captured throughout the past few months, or even the recently one, like this one over here. You have a crow and a squirrel crossing at the same time. They even give ways. And after we upgraded the Canopy Bridge, right, a macaque officialate, the crossing. So this is a male, alpha male, I guess. So he made the first cross. So now we're waiting for this behind us to cross the second prototype so that we can get more data in order to compare which prototype is better for the wild monkeys in Penang, and soon use this prototype to reach out to different research projects in Peninsular Malaysia. All right. Before I end this session, I would like to raise a question. Are you positive about the future of primate conservation in Malaysia? Can you write down your answer in both chat groups, in Facebook and Zoom? Are you positive about the future of primate conservation in Malaysia? This is a question that people often ask me in every interviews and sharing. So what's my answer? There are people who are pessimists about this. Some people are very optimistic but don't know what to do. But let me show you one set of images. Look at these images. Young people, top left and the bottom left, they are the future of Malaysia. When we have more young people getting engaged in conservation as citizen scientists in their local groups, or even initiate your own small citizen science project, even kids can do that, you have more hope. Means that these people are able to make a difference in the future. I know this sounds a little bit irony to some of you, but throughout these years, like humble years involved in citizen science action, I can confirm that this changes people's behavior and also able to make more plans for future conservation purposes. It's just a matter of do or not do, and whether other stakeholders willing to collaborate to actually do more for Malaysian wildlife. So by seeing all the different camera footages of the langurs crossing the road, this gives me hope in establishing more canopy bridge crossing. So many people ask me, like, after I done with my PhD, would I continue with Langur Project Penang? My answer is yes, of course, because if I don't do it, no one will do it. If I don't really care about them, if I don't really keep on moving this group together, this group of citizen scientists together, and the future of Malaysian primates may not be as efficient or be as good compared to like recent or even previously, because we need more people to get engaged, get involved as a citizen scientist in order to make a difference. All right, so what are our future plans? Like I mentioned multiple times, our future plan is to engage with more different groups of citizen Malaysian and reach out to more stakeholders to do more instead of establishing canopy bridges. We would like to have arboreal wildlife road crossing. Yeah, means those signages that you can see by the road instead of elephant, tapirs, or even monkey ground crossing, you have arboreal wildlife crossing signages. And for environmental education, we want to do more than just what we can do now. Even though now pandemic is quite challenging for most of the environmental educators out there, but I would like to see more collaboration between different educators so that we can merge all expertise and creativity to get wildlife in nature conservation in Malaysia, so that we can proudly announce to international platform that Malaysia has a huge norm and a huge habit in adapting into citizen science effort, which we all can involve. All right, if you're interested or even want to know more regarding Langur Project Penang, you can scan this QR code or even visit our website, www.langurprojectpenang. If you'd like to join us as volunteers, no matter it's ad hoc, short-term, long-term, or even permanent volunteer, you can always click into the link over there and also click download form in order to download the application form to apply as one of the LPP members. All right, so I'm gonna stop the sharing session right now. But before that, I would like to just highlight again, tak kena, maka tak cinta. Dusky langurs, they are very important to me. But of course, I love all kinds of animals as well. But I study them, so it's my responsibility to raise awareness to wider audience. I hope everyone would tomorrow open up the window, look at the birds, look at the flora and fauna, the trees around you, and ask yourself a question like, what can you do for this remaining green areas or even nature around you that you can actually contribute to conservation. All right, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much, Jolene, for the very concise and incredible talk. So to you guys, if you have any questions, please drop it in the Q&A box or a chat box. On Facebook, I can see like the LPP team is very actively chatting there and replying to questions, especially Kaishan and
Kaishan is hey.
Tinwen were chatting on how they were chased by bees, fieldwork experience. Yep. So anyone, if you have any questions, feel free to drop it. I'll address it. Perhaps I can start off by asking Jolene one question. Now that the whole the talk that you just gave, it's more on how people can get involved. So how about do you have any advice for those who are already in the environmental field, who are the organizers, the NGO, the managers or whatsoever, how they can reach out, like start like advice to them if, how to gain more people to join.
All right. Yeah. Speaking from experience, I only have I would say my conservation experience is 10 years, but my LPP experience is 5 years. So I'm still very, very, very young conservationist in primate conservation. But speaking on my personal advice, because LPP is really blessed and lucky because we are open-minded. One thing I realized that for many people out there, if you talk about the people with really, really strong scientific background or even a high position and title, sometimes we just have to put down our ego and start listening. Because listen is a very it's a very difficult thing to do. Like one example, like for us, of course, we advocate for no feeding monkeys, right? Just take this very simple example. Like if I go to the nearest park and I see someone feeding monkeys, and you have two different types of reaction. First reaction, you would go towards the person and then straight away ham-tam and scold already. You'll be like, don't feed the monkey, feed monkey is wrong, blah, 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 blah. So the second type of approach is to approach the person and start asking, why do you feed the monkeys? Oh, this is why you feed the monkeys. Oh, but do you know that? Ah, do you know that? So Sue and everyone, can you see a difference between these two different approaches? Yeah, the first approach would be using facts and just keep throwing out to the person. But this is what you want to say. It's not the person want to listen. You know what I mean? And the second type is try to, break the ice. Understand a little bit more regarding that per person thoughts. And then you can improvise and get into the zone, get into the comfortable zone of the second, on the per person as well. So my advice would be try to be a little bit more open and try to be a little bit more understanding regarding different proposals that come towards you. Not many researchers, scientists out there are willing to, dress like very, very childish and go outside and tell stories to kids like what I do, Yeah, which many people told me is that it's very hard for me to find a successor because of my personality, etc. But I will emphasize that just do it your style. Like in Malaysia, there's so many great examples of citizen science project, like Turtle Conservation Society, Dr. Pell, she's my idol. She has been doing citizen science for the past how many years already? Yeah, and also we have like the Rimba project as well. Yeah, Rimba project. With Ubi, you guys are engaged with the students of university, even though just students, but they are part of the citizen science effort. Yeah, so all these different groups, they have different way of approach people. I guess just learn from each other. Like we are not the best. You guys, maybe in my heart is the best. So I learn from you and you learn from me. Be more open and be more understanding regarding the thoughts of the people that you're working with.
Right, thank you, Jolene. Okay, we have a flowing of questions coming in already. Okay. So from Dr. Mui, she said, congrats on the arboreal crossing. It is a success as it's used by a variety of species. Are there any plans to replicate this in other high-risk roads where roadkills have been noted? Buy-in from local authorities and the
All right,
government.
yes, I do. Okay, let me tell you a story. Okay, so since we established the Canopy Bridge in February 2019, right? And after a few more months, the former minister, yeah, came over to our bridge and gave us compliments and also support. Yeah, but since we have some reshuffling of our Malaysian government, so now things tend to go back to the baseline. And however, recently, the ministry also announced a public announcement on their starting to take into consideration on wildlife hotspot, especially targeting all the large mammals and also monkey species as well. So this, I can see there's a hope over there. Like based on the question that raised just now, we plan to expand this project into different crossing hotspot? Yes, but we need to confirm those crossing hotspot, is it well utilized by different wildlife? This is the first thing. This is why we need citizen science action. Like for example, coordinate A and coordinate B. Like if you drive past coordinate A, right, you see the monkey cross once, you report to us. And then coordinate B, we have like 10 people report to us. So which coordinate should we pick? Of course, the highest chances will be coordinate B. So it takes a long term. It doesn't mean that you see the animal cross one time and then you want to build a bridge over there, because you can't really confirm whether is that a permanent crossing area. Because with conservation, we need a lot of money, we need a lot of people. Yeah, not like a lot of money, but we need money as well. Yeah, so all this effort, we need to really identify the crossing hotspot nicely in order to expand. And in terms of working with the government, yes, we are always open to working with Perhitan as well. Even Perhitan, they are supporting of our project, but I really would like to do more. Like for example, after I'm done with my PhD, I would really engage with more stakeholders and do more planning and discussion in order to follow the footsteps of our expert conservationists and our seniors to do more than that. For everyone who would like to join us on board in citizen science action in reporting road crossing activities, please do that, because all this data means a lot to us. Thank you.
All right. So the next question is from Quartro. How can we get in touch? How can we get in contact with a scientist to help a citizen science program?
All right. Let me take in the US, for example. In US, there's a website called Science Starter. Yeah, Science Starter. Jie Long just share the link in the chat box. If you see the few links, right, the second link is a Science Starter TED Talk. That TED Talk is a very, very good talk regarding the definition of citizen science, an example of citizen science project in US in making an impact. Unfortunately, I would say, I wouldn't use the word unfortunately. Citizen science is still progressing in Malaysia. Not many people is familiarized with this word. When you ask people citizen science, they're like, huh, what's that? Yeah, because it's not a norm in Malaysia yet. I would say that in Malaysia, based on current situation, you will need to get on social media more often. Like if you're in Klang Valley, you can reach out to Animal Neighbours Project. Like if you're in Penang or you're in Klang Valley, you also can come to help. No problem. And you have a UBI, you have a Rimba project, you have multiple NGOs. You just need to go to Facebook and search for Conservation Lecture Project. Because in Malaysia, our citizen science project is still quite new, and we still need a lot of support and a lot of search in order to discover us. Yeah, make more discovery. Yeah.
Okay. The next question is how to overcome fear towards nature among young generation.
First is to get into nature in a slow form. Like for example, if I afraid of lianas, like I'm a fan of hashing. Hashing means that you go into the unmarked trail and you go through the hidden area of the forest. Like if you are afraid of hashing because you're afraid of the vines, the lianas, blah blah, all that. Yeah, the first thing to do is to start with like a mild trekking area, and then slowly you upgrade to like more thicker vegetation area. I would say that for those who really afraid of nature, don't be afraid. Try to have an open mind. The same goes to human. Many people refuse to help wild animals. I would say that when you talk about animal protection in Malaysia, many people are towards like domestic animals, right? Cats and dogs. Yeah, which is really good. I'm a very, very huge fan of dogs. I have 4 dogs actually. But when you talk about wildlife or urban wildlife, not many people actually know what are the urban wildlife around your neighborhood. Do you guys know that in Malaysia, there's 26 species of primates? Primates means apes, monkeys, and small apes. Yeah. Do you know that including us human, we are primates as well? not many people know this because we are not studying this in our syllabus in high school or even in primary school. Yeah, so the first thing is to understand more in order to lift up your fear about nature. Once you understand more, you get curiosity. Once you're curious and you start have the courage. Once you have the courage, then you will join. Yeah, most of the duskies that we have, even in the chat group, they started from zero and now they're hero. Yeah.
Nice, nice. All right. The next one is, now we see housing area overtaking the forest areas. Therefore, langurs and other monkeys, of course, will go to the homes. What can we do about it?
All right, that's a very, very good question. We get this question like almost every single day. And good news is we're coming up with a series of infographic on this soon, because the urban sighting project that we're collaborating with Oxford Brookes, right? Since we launched out that poster and people have been sending us observation, including those screenshots that I shared to you guys just now. So I would advise that, like for example, 2 days ago, my friend called me, Jolene, there's a dusky langur at the flat area, you know. He's like alone outside the window, want to get into the flat. Should I catch him? Should I scared that he'll get hit, etc. So first is don't panic. Most important is don't panic. First, you understand the behavior of the monkeys. Like for example, if the dusky langur behind me come to your apartment, if it's a single individual or a group of individuals, first look at your surrounding. Where could it be? Yeah, where could he or the group come from? Because right now, if you look at our current condition, especially in Penang or different parts of Peninsular Malaysia, most of the hills are fragmented. These animals, their natural habitat is in the hills. But due to fragmented area, they need to roam out, including the young individuals, sub-adults. Primates are like us human. When we are like matured already, we will go out, right? Yeah, so for these animals, they will go out, and in order to search for new home range, join into new group or form their own small subgroups. So when you see monkeys around your neighborhood, dusky langurs, for example, first, don't panic, and second, no contact. Do not go close to them. Do not try to touch them because they are wild animal. When they see you go close to them, they will go even further, or they will even can get a little bit aggressive if it's a dominant characteristic or with a baby. Don't panic. Keep a safe distance. Don't go close. And third, shut your windows and doors because you don't want to let the monkeys come into your house, right? Yeah, because when they smell something like, wow, I smell food. Of course, curious what? They are curious, then they will try to get into your house. So all these different steps, and if you shut your doors, etc., and they start to realize that there's nothing interesting over here, they will go back to their natural habitat, even though they are taking the risk of traveling on the road and cable wire again, but at least there's no stress from the human. Every closer step you take towards the wild animals, they will be very stressed. Then they will kind of like they will run towards the road, then this increase the chances of roadkill. So always keep calm, first thing. Second, keep a safe distance, and at the same time, educate your friends and family or your neighbors. And third, close the windows and the door, and also keep your trash well. Yeah, if you can, just keep your trash, don't put it outside so that it won't lure the animal, especially for the brown monkeys, the long-tailed macaques. People are feeding them. Yeah. So if you have some doubts regarding this, feel free to contact us or even different primate groups in Malaysia as well. I'm sure that most of the groups are quite active on social media.
Okay. The next question is, what kind of trainings are required for field work?
All right. Sue, do you want to answer this question?
No need training. That's my answer.
Training, of course. Yeah.
Stamina training.
All right, just brief through the step because we are still quite a new group, but we try to work according to the SOP to reduce the public risk. So the first thing, once we get application, and we will ask them, how is your experience in field? If your experience is really zero, so how to make you into the hero means you need to go through a training process. So it depends on individuals. Like for if yourself has zero experience in fieldwork, you only hike like normal trail, you don't know how to go through the more difficult trail to observe animals, we will train you personally, not only myself, but other duskies as well. And we'll teach you how to use the binoculars, and we'll teach you how to use the GPS to navigate yourself out. We'll teach you how to use a technology like iPad or even apps to record the data. And most importantly, it's all mostly on teamwork. Because when you go into the field, if you're very confident and you're very seasoned, then you can go alone. If you are still new or even intermediate level, then you go with a friend. We call them the buddy. And then it's mostly on teamwork and also consideration and understanding. Because when you work in team, it's not that easy as you think. You might think that like I go into the field alone, or I go in the field with Sue, and then Sue and I, we would work better together. But this doesn't seem all the case. Sometimes I may be faster, Sue may be slower, and then she may slow me down, then I just like neglect her, and then she get hurt, etc. So there are lots of risk factor to be considered in the forest, including how to identify snakes, how to identify vines. Like some vines have thorny things, spikes on the vines as well. You need to beware of. Yeah, so I would say volunteer with LPP would take a training of maximum 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah, like consistently. Yeah, if that is what you're looking for. Yeah.
Okay, there's no other questions from Zoom, so I'll be shifting to Facebook, where it's very entertaining here on Facebook
Okay.
with Kai Xian.
Okay.
Okay, okay, there's one question from Jia Long. I hope you, yeah. How, all right, okay, so the question is, how common is interspecific friendship between dusky langurs and long-tailed?
Hello, Sue. Can you hear me? Hello? Hello? So can I have people in the chat group to type me yes if you can hear me? If you can see me moving, just type yes, because Sue, she's freezing.
Okay, I just realized that I'm back.
All right. Okay.
All right. Did you get the question just now?
Yes, I got the question. So I'm going to answer the question now. So when you talk about the interspecies grooming between longtail and macaques, right? Yeah, they are quite often, but so far we're still collecting the data. We have a group of FYP students helping us in observing this for their last year FYP. And now our current intern, Jie Long, and his team is also working on this as well. So soon we're going to compile all the data to see the frequencies of the interspecies grooming. But so far we can see that it depends on habitat. Like certain habitat like Cherotokun, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Cherotokun or even botanical gardens, right? Okay, like those area when it's quite like surrounded by residential area means all these different species of animals, they're sharing similar habitats. So when they're sharing similar habitats, they don't really conflict that much, depends on the food resources. Like for example, when it's fruiting season, there's abundance of food, and different species wouldn't mind just hang out together on a single fig tree, right? Yeah, but if the habitat is really huge and they are very territorial, yeah, then they would be more territorial. Yeah, this is why in certain habitats like in Teluk Bahang, it's a linear habitat, even though it's fragmented by road, but it's considered still a long patch of habitat throughout the whole way. Then during that habitat, the langurs and the macaques, they are quite territorial. But in the habitat which surrounded by neighborhood, they are kind of get used to it with sharing resources. So to them, it's not a big deal, and they would even care for each other as well. But you can't see this every single day. It depends on certain ability of food resources and also the size of the home ranges.
Okay, I think so. That's all questions. So probably one last call. If anyone has one last question, I can take. If there's none, then we might be able to.
Yeah, there's one question in Zoom. So BMSMBB Wing, he's asking, since habitats are all fragmented, it is advisable to catch all the monkeys and put them into the forest. This is what normally people think. But Wing, if you think about the whole scenario in your mind, if you catch all the monkeys and put them into the forest, how big is the forest? And many people would say that, oh, when you see monkeys in the neighborhood, oh, just call Penang and translocate them, put it back in the forest, like easy only, ma. It's not that easy, you know. In order to translocate a single monkey or even a group of monkey, you need a lot of operation. First, you need to habituate the group yet. If it's like macaques, like you can use food to lure them. But if for dusky langurs, they're arboreal wildlife, they could leap up to the buildings and trees really fast. If you use tranquilizer, you need to make sure that the netting is exactly bottom in order for you to catch the monkeys. Or you use cages, etc. Means you need a lot of time to habituate them, to gain their trust in order to capture them. This takes a while. And then how would you identify like which forest to put at? You need to identify first thing, the forest that you want to release them to, how many groups of dusky langurs they are over there. If there's 5 groups over there, you need to calculate by using stats like, is that a few hectares of forest sufficient enough for more than 5 groups of dusky langurs? If average 1 group of dusky langurs, the home range is like a 12 or even like to 20 acres. Yeah, so all this need to take into consideration. It doesn't mean that you catch, you put, you catch, you put, you catch, you put. Yeah, then the forest will be crowded and the monkeys will come out as well. So the best thing is still to raise awareness and also coexistence, because we are not the government, right? We are not like the politician. We can say like no deforestation means no deforestation. We can't do that. So what we can do is do from a citizen perspective. What I can do. I'm a PhD student, but instead of just writing and research and share among the peers, I can do more. So this is something that I hope everyone can think about, what you can do for Malaysian wildlife, even the simplest thing.
Okay. Thank you so much, Jolene, for I think we can end the Q&A session there.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So thank you everyone for staying with us throughout the session. Now we will share the QR code on the screen for feedbacks. We really appreciate it if you could scan the QR code and give us your thoughts on the series. This online workshop is also recorded, so it will be up on the social media platforms very soon. You can check it out on our Facebook videos, YouTube, and also IGTV. All 3 platforms are there for you.
Wow.
So next week on 18 September at 8 p.m., we will be with Mr. Afan from Water Warriors UM on the topics of drains, small ponds, and wetlands. So like, what is the difference between a drain and a stream? What makes a drain, and what makes a stream a stream? If you are curious on how we think of our urban waterways, come and join us next week. So before we end, if you are interested in learning more about Langur Project Penang, you can follow them on their social media accounts on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Langur Project Penang. You can also visit them on their website. I think so the website is pretty new, langurprojectpenang.com. Also do follow us on our social media pages at Facebook, Instagram, and also Twitter. Urban Biodiversity Initiative at UBI_MY, that's at UB_MY. Also do check out our website, ubi-my.com. So again, thank you so much, Jolene, for the incredible talk. Thank you everyone for the incredible questions. Yeah, thank you for coming. So see you guys next week.
Everyone. Thank you guys. Yeah, any question, just drop us a message on social media. Thank you. Bye. Have a good night. Bye.